is just a quick video Memorial Day message, and I want to just reaffirm where I stand when it comes to the United States of America, where it comes to these days of celebration of certain things. And I just want to first off say that I am not an ingrate. I am not an ungrateful person. When I speak about our military, when I speak about our nation, it's out of concern. It's out of a desire for the people to wake up and come to a knowledge of the truth and take these things seriously and research these things and stop believing lies and stop thinking that their government it cares about them and it seeks its best interests. All right, it's they do not seek your best interests. The Republicans and Democrats are nothing more, nothing less than two wings of the same bird. All right? Two wings of the same bird. And what they do is they practice a Hegelian dialect, and they appear to be against each other in public. They appear to be against each other on television. But behind closed doors, they're good friends. Behind closed doors, they're pals. And they're working together against the American people to destroy this country and establish a new world order. Everybody knows this at this point. Everybody knows about the new world order. It's right there on your dollar bill in your face. With the pyramid and the words in Latin, I believe it's Latin, that say New World Order on it. Okay, so everybody knows at this point that the whole idea is to establish a new world order and this and that, but because we have the established controlled media out there and the propaganda machine that America is pushing, all these nonsense stories and all these things that fearmonger people and all this other stuff, that people stay in a state of deception. And they choose to stay in a state of deception. And like I said, they won't come out of it. They really think that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are enemies. I mean, you people are being played. These guys are not enemies. You thought that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were enemies. They were not enemies. They're actually related. There's actually video of them at banquets and dinners and all types of things, laughing it up, having a good time, the Clintons and the Trumps and all this other stuff. And we really seem to think that these people are against each other. We're really buying that script. It's just like a WWE or a WW, I don't even like to call it that, WWF, drama script. That's what it is. And it's all for you. To really make you think that there's going to be some type of change, but there's not going to be any change because they're all playing the same script. So I just want to start off in this video saying that and lead that to what I'm going to talk about here for a minute. Try to keep it short. But, Memorial Day is a day to remember the fallen. And yeah, I do remember the fallen because I know men that fell in Afghanistan, that lost their lives, that gave their life for this country and gave their life under the guise of freedom, so-called. But the reality is, and while that's heartbreaking, the reality is, the thing that's more heartbreaking is a lot of those people, and the majority of those people that give their life for this country, end up in hell. Okay, they don't get a free pass because they serve their country. And I preach on this all the time when I'm out there with veterans. They don't get a free pass to heaven because you served in the military. You don't get a free pass to heaven because you defended this country for freedom, so-called what you thought was for defending freedom, when it was really not. You don't get a pass with a holy God. Okay? A lot of these guys died in vain. And that's the reality that no one wants to talk about or say, but I'm going to say it. They died in vain. I could have died in vain. And for what? The furtherance of what? What happened with those wars? What happened with Afghanistan? What happened with Iraq? All under the guise of WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, but yet none were found. What were we doing in Afghanistan for 20 years? And we just pull out overnight. Giving people no closure, giving people a slap to the soldiers' faces of what were we really doing there? Well, I'll tell you what we were really doing there. It was all about resources. It was all about drugs. It was all about the central bank. It was all about those things. Establishing a central bank, establishing, quote-unquote democracy in these places. They set you up for failure soon after most of the blood is shed and you settle in at these countries. They set you up for failure with rules and regulations in which you must abide by, and you become a police force more than an actual military force operating on foreign land. You become a police force for the United States military because you are policing their assets. And that's all you're doing over there in these wars. They're bogus. And I speak from a place of experience. And I've made a testimony video about Afghanistan. I've made a testimony video about that. You should go watch it. You can find it in my playlist section. Testimonies and exhortations. I went in depth about it. Soon after we pulled out of Afghanistan as a nation. Oh, we ended up in Afghanistan and Iraq because of 9/11, which still people today are deceived by this event that took place. Airplanes caused 2 towers to fall perfectly in on themselves. Airplanes hitting a tower, jet fuel burning, caused 2 buildings to fall perfectly in on themselves. This couldn't be further from the truth, guys. And it all can be, and the thing about all this that is amazing is it's all out there for you to figure out. It's all at your fingertips. It's called Google. You don't have to go to the library anymore. You don't have to look very far anymore to find any of these things. It's not difficult to find. But people don't want to find them, especially in America. They don't want to believe. They don't want to pull back the onion of corruption within their own country. And then when you talk about those things, they'll call you an ingrate. They'll say, well, you're an ungrateful American. I'm not an ungrateful American. I thank God for the freedoms that I have. I am thankful for the freedoms that I have. But I can tell you, the Afghanistan and Iraq war had nothing to do with freedom. A lot of people have these freedoms. They don't exercise the freedoms that they have because they're so scared of their Gestapo police. They're scared, of their police state. They're scared of pandemics and diseases going and coming out. They're scared of everything. They have a spirit of fear in the land. But I'm just making this video as a reminder that not only do I not forget some of these men that I knew that didn't make it, that lost their lives in combat. I do remember them, but I also remember my tyrannical government. I also remember them, and I don't forget about them. Because I still live in this nation, and I'm not going to be ignorant to the devices of the government that behind the scenes is run by the secret societies. I'm not going to be deceived by it. I'm not going to live a life of deception and pretend that everything's just hunky-dory, everything's just wonderful up there in Washington, Masonic Washington. I'm not going to pretend it. I'm not going to live with my head in the sand. And I'm certainly not going to support any of these people because they all work for the same team. They're all part of the same club, like George Carlin said. He's a comedian I used to listen to before I got saved. Obviously, I would not advocate to ever listen to George Carlin. He's a foul, potty mouth. But he said truth, just like a lot of these sellouts do. They tell you the truth right in plain sight in their face. They mock you. Just like your government tells you the truth in plain sight and mocks you. And keeps you on a rabbit hunt and an Easter egg hunt with all these established, controlled media programming and these scripts. Keeping you confused, keeping you in derision, keeping your mind occupied from what's really going on. The enemy's right there in your TV screen. We can't even see that in this hour. They're right there on your TV screen, on CNN and ABC, and all these other things, programming you. Go look it up. The United States government practices psychological operations on their own people just like they did in Nazi Germany. What do you think they did with all those Nazi scientists they brought over here? You thought they just brought them over here so they could just get you up into space to touch the moon? By the way, we never went back to the moon. Why is that? If it's so easy to go. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic. I can tell you. That these wars are nothing more, nothing less than a racket. Lieutenant General Smedley Butler of the United States Marine Corps, an officer, he came out and said it. He even wrote a book on it called War's a Racket. Take it from a guy who worked for the machine. Take it from a guy who worked for the military-industrial complex. Take it from a guy who was their top guy in the military-industrial complex. He speaks openly about these things. So all this stuff is out there for you to see. We refuse to see it as a people. Because we're just living the good old American dream. A lot of us only care about our money. That's what we're most concerned about. Money. And it's the root of all evil. for a reason. How do you think that these banksters, these con men up there, keep so many hooked? It's because people love money. It makes the world go round. You ever heard that before? That's what it has to do with, a lot of it. That's why people want to stay blind to a lot of what I'm saying. Because they care about their assets, they care about their money, they care about their luxury, they care about their comfort, they care about everything that'll keep them in a state where they can just have their nice little house, have that favorite chair, that recliner, have that 60-inch screen in their face, have whatever it is. They could live their little life of comfort. When this nation was established, it wasn't established on comfort and luxury. It was established on blood. But we're not going to take it that far in this hour. And by the time we try, it's already too late. It's already too late. We've gone far beyond the point of waiting as a people of America. The cancer has grown. The destruction of the nation from within is pretty much complete, and all we're seeing them do is just wrap it on up. It doesn't matter if you get Donald Trump. It doesn't matter if you get Joe Biden. They're the same. They're the two wings of the same bird. Will you wake up? So remember that on Memorial Day. Yes, remember the fallen. Remember the fallen. Remember, especially in these last 20 years, again, I don't speak on all the wars, but I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these wars were brought up by the central banks to get us on the petrodollar and all this other stuff. There's a lot of information out there you can go look into all on your own time. But I'm just simply here to remind you about these fake wars of Afghanistan and Iraq. You got people coming out with testimony after testimony of, I was the terrorist over there. Why do you think they would say something like that? Maybe because they saw things for what they really were? Maybe because they went into a third world country and realized these people couldn't come up nor fund any of the things that they did? Come on, people. We're smarter than this. Well, at least I hope so. At least I hope so. But I'm just telling you today, if there's a time to wake up, the time is now. Time to wake up out of this perpetual sleep that we're in America. We think that these people got our best interest. They're all working towards the same goal. They've said it. It's all out there over and over and over again. They're working towards a new world order. Donald Trump's not going to go put the sodomites away out of the land. Donald Trump's not going to stop abortion. Donald Trump's not going to stop the child sacrifice on the altar of Moloch. He's not going to stop any of those things. Neither is Biden. I just wish people would wake up and see these things for what they really are. Stop playing dumb. Stop pretending. Well, they could just buy us a little more time. Just buy us a little more time. That's up to the Lord. But I want to see people wake up out of this stuff. That's what I want to see. I want to see them wake up out of this stuff and come to the Lord. Come to the Lord Jesus. Because our nation is so mindless and dumbed down and careless. They don't care about anything. And that's why it's a steam engine off the rails and going so quickly towards the cliff for this nation. Because of the state of people's hearts, because of the state of carelessness. They could care less. It's like that guy in the room. And he's yelling fire. And no one wants to move. So let this Memorial Day be a wake-up call unto you. Let it be a wake-up call unto you. Pull your head out of the sand and see things for what they are.